All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for part two. On our first recorded webinar, we were able to share with you 4 very unique stories by 4 different parents. I hope that you were able to feel encouraged, and I hope that that feeling of hope was really left inside of you, because that is our goal and that is our aim, is to empower you to know that there's a different way out there, and empower you to never lose hope and never lose sight of that you are an advocate and you are here to walk your child through life, and to know that there are different ways and there are answers out there. Because as you heard my story before, I'm that parent. I'm that parent that was searching, that was open, that knew there was a different way, and thankfully someone showed me that, and thankfully my mind was open enough to say yes. Because as you heard before, I now have almost 2 years in, I have a little boy who is off of 3 medications and thriving and doing better than he's ever been doing before, and I am so grateful every day, and I want to give that same gift to you. So we're honored to have you here with us today. And I'm also thrilled and excited to have Dr. Brimhall, who will be presenting this product information with me today. So you showed up and you wanted to see part 2 because we shared with you that our kids were activated. And so we're going to share with you science and research that's been proven time and time again to bring nutrition to the bodies, and that's why we're getting the results that we're getting with our kids, because it's a different way of looking at nutrition and the body's capability and ability to heal. So Dr. Brimhall has a thriving practice in Mesa, Arizona, and we have been able to connect and lock arms with him and really deliver this information out into the community. And so he has been practicing for more than 20 years and has even designed and developed his own supplement line, and has never seen anything like this before. And because of what he has seen in children and even in adults, he can't keep quiet. And so we are honored to have his voice on here today to educate you as well. So Dr. Brimhall, welcome, and take it away.
Hey, thanks, Stephanie. And I feel blessed to be part of this experience. Now, you and I were chatting before we got started, just thinking about all, not only our own families, but all the kids that this and family this can affect. Because it's not like that we aren't looking for answers. It's not that people aren't searching, it's just they're not sure where to find it. And I remember I walk into Sprouts and I see this lineup of supplements, and there's a book over there where you go by symptom and try to find out what you need. So what we're going to share with you all is actually a brand new science called Nutrigenomics that's going to help you have hope and know for sure that at the reality this will have an effect on you and those that you love and care about. I've always wondered, as I've worked with people and you look at them, it's like, well, they look like normal humans, right? But they're not performing that way. So over the years, I've looked at studies and science and lab tests to try to understand what's going on inside of a person. One of the images is this. So this is called a SPECT scan. It literally looks at the function of the brain as it's doing activity. And the one on the left is a normal brain. Like, this is the hot spots of what should be lit up when the brain's functioning. The one on the right is a little girl that I've taken care of since she was 5. Her mom's giving me permission to use these slides. She's diagnosed with ADHD as well as autism, right? So look at the difference in how her brain is performing versus what would we consider as normal, right? And then we're going to kind of fill you on what the rest of her story is now after using Nutrigenomics, the science, to improve that. So first we got to find out what the problem is, right? So we're not going to look at symptoms, right? We're looking at what do we need to address, what systems are struggling, can we improve those systems? If we do that, how much more life can somebody express, right? So this is kind of a summary of the study. Now, all these studies we pulled are off what's called PubMed.gov. This is a National Institutes of Health website for research. So it's current research. So this is looking at things that you look at called biomarkers relationship to autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Now, the highlighted in red is they're saying, okay, oxidative stress, decreased methylation, limited production of glutathione, mitochondrial dysfunction, intestinal dysbiosis, which is the bad gut, increased toxic metal burden, immune dysregulation or autoimmunity, characterized by unique inflammatory bowel problems, immune activation of neuroglial cells, so that's your brain cells being activated, and ongoing brain hypoperfusion, which is a lack of blood flow. These are all associated with autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So now, if those are the problems, if these are the systems that aren't working, what do we have that we could do to improve those systems? Okay, so here's what the research tells us. One of them being fatty acid, right? So looking at fatty acids, they've done this and they found a direct correlation with attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder and omega-3s, all right? Okay, so in looking at the summary of the study, it says, our study suggests that omega-3 is a feasible and safe adjunct therapy in children with ADHD. And it might actually help enhance the effects of things like Ritalin, right? So people ask me all the time, is it safe to do this with medication? It's great to know that the research shows that. So we're not gonna say we cure, treat, prevent autism or ADHD. We're just gonna point to what we're seeing happen, both in my clinical experience, what Steph has seen with her in counseling people with nutrition as well as in her own life. But what I'm saying is omega-3 fatty acids are something that people, that they're struggling brain-wise, all of us need them, but especially for kids or adults that are struggling with any of these types of situations. And it's safe to do with medications, all right? Also, mitochondrial dysfunction, right? We know that mitochondrial deficits are detected in people with ADHD, right? So if your mitochondria, which are inner producers of your cells, are not working right, your brain is not going to perform as it should, and you could manifest symptoms of things like autism, things like attention deficit, all right? So now then the question becomes, what do we do about it? And Steph's going to kind of fill us in on what the options are, and not based on what you do when you just go into Sprout and say, hey, what helps the mitochondria? We're talking about literally how to affect that system of energy production, okay? Other things, and I love this study because they were looking at how the basically brain health, looking at Parkinson's and attention deficit, and there's some correlations between those two. And in my mind, yeah, I want to help people today and also prevent tomorrow. We know some of the things we're going to talk about, which is called NRF2 activation. And they've literally been called the most extraordinary preventative and therapeutic breakthrough in the history of medicine by Washington State in 2015. If that's really true, we need to understand what that means for us, right? So they're looking at ADHD specifically, and they're talking about psychostimulants and non-psychostimulants, which are medications, all right, are the drugs prescribed for the treatment of ADHD. However, they have been associated with increased risk of substance use and has several side effects. Anytime I think about that, I think about those kids that I've seen, right, that have been on multiple medications, and that's the best solution we have, and we need to come up with different solutions. I love this last phrase. Today, there are very few tools available to prevent or to counteract the progression of such neurological disorders. Thus, therapeutic approaches with high efficiency and fewer side effects are needed. And they're talking about this day looking at natural compounds and specifically targeted at decreasing oxidative stress. Guys, this was just published in 2018, right? So this is what's going on now. And we know with research, it's usually what we happen in clinical practice is usually 10 plus years behind. Well, if your family's struggling now, we need answers like yesterday, right? So one of those studies that Steph actually shared with me probably a month or so ago, she said, check this out, increased oxidative stress in children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Our study showed there is a significant increase in oxidative stress in children with ADHD, right? So we know oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, gut inflammation, omega-3 fatty acid imbalance, lack of brain perfusion is the problem of why people have and been diagnosed with ADHD or autism. So now the question becomes, what do we do about that? So Steph, I love how you describe oxidative stress and the solutions that you see with your family. So take it away.
Absolutely, thank you. So that was the question that I asked when I found out about oxidative stress. Even in my years of schooling and in years of doing nutrition consulting, I had honestly never heard of oxidative stress. I had heard of free radical damage. Well, an increase in free radicals leads to oxidative stress, which is cellular damage. And I love the analogy. You take an apple, you cut it in half, you leave it on the counter, and it turns brown. That's oxidation. And so that's happening in all of the cells. Well, we know our kiddos with ADHD and autism have an increased level of oxidative stress. So the question is, how do we get down to the root cause of oxidative stress and lower it? Because with my kiddo, we were doing so many therapies. I shared all of that with you in the first video. We were doing massive amounts of antioxidants. He was taking glutathione. He was taking probiotics and omegas. I was spending hundreds of dollars a month on therapies as well as supplements. And we were not getting the results that we needed. But what we did get results on when Protandim came into his body was massive changes. And the results were because Protandim has been clinically proven and shown to reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. And you guys, this only gets better and better over time because it does have a cumulative effect in the body. So we're talking about getting down to that root cause. We're lowering oxidative stress, which allows the cells to repair and be their best again. And those cells are everywhere in the body, gut, brain, heart, everywhere. Cells make us up. And so it works on everybody. We're seeing these massive changes in our kids. So what is in Protandim? That was a question I asked. Why have I never heard of it? And what is in it? It's a salad. I'm feeding my kid herbs, which is amazing. So we have turmeric, milk thistle, green tea extract, bacopa extract, and ashwagandha. You can take all of these individually on their own, but you will not get the therapeutic effect that you get when you pull all of these ingredients together. It is truly the synergy and the science behind all of these ingredients, the exact ratio that allows those cells to repair and allows that oxidative stress come down. And that is something that you will not find anywhere else, only in Protandim. So the unique part of Protandim as well, over anything else that we have that I've ever seen, is that we have clinical research on it. You can go to pubmed.gov, you see it right here on your slide, and you can find 25 peer-reviewed studies. That blows my mind. So now, not only do I have an amazing natural product that is reducing oxidative stress, but I have science behind it. It's been studied by Harvard. It's been studied by American Heart Association. I don't have to do any of my studies. It's already been done for me. I'm going to trust those research institutions, and I'm going to put this in my child's body and watch it unfold right in front of me. It's exciting. So in the last couple of years, the scientists also found another pathway called NRF1. And Dr. Brimhall talked about the mitochondria and how the mitochondria are just not healthy and they're not functioning at their best. And so how do we get those mitochondria, which are those engines that of the inside of the cell that makes the cell healthy? How do we get them performing better? Well, we're talking about activating a pathway in the body. So activating NRF2 pathway, now activating NRF1 pathway. So what I was doing before with my child is I was supplementing. Now we're activating the body to do what it's created and designed to do with these herbs. So we have alpha lipoic acid, CoQ10, grape extract, quercetin, and acetyl L-carnitine. Now we're boosting that mitochondrial production. And again, those cells are everywhere. So we're seeing better brain function happening. And then probiotics, again, been using those for years in my child as well. Why is the probiotic with LifeVantage unique? Because 60% of the live culture actually is delivered to the digestive system. That bacteria is laid down, and so those good guys can be boosted up, and it has a product in it called Wellmune that helps to regulate the immune system, which you heard Dr. Brimhall show a study that immune dysregulation is happening in our kiddos. So I'm sure you've heard, if you've done any kind of research on brain function, you know that the gut is an integral part of healing the brain, and they talk all the time and constant communication together. And so we need to make sure that that gut is as healthy as it can be. And I, as a nutritionist, been teaching that for years and years and years, and was doing it in my own child. But again, just was not getting the results that I was looking for. But when I brought all these products together in combination, that's when he made his leaps and bounds and developmentally started to make the milestones that he was lacking in before. So Wellmune being a part of the probiotics, so now you have two products in one, and that immune system is regulated and that good gut flora is increased. So I'm going to pass this now over to Dr. Brimhall so we can talk to you about fatty acids and kind of just wrap everything up for you.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. And with Stephanie, I love her background because she's in pharmaceutical sales before and then turned nutritionist because she wanted to help people get her and a mom, like an advocate. Like, and so I love your passion for what you see, not only in your own family, but like just your desire to help and share with other people. And to have these tools now available to us for our families is awesome. So omega-3 fatty acids, guys, the question isn't, do you need them? The question is, where are you going to get them from, right? And what the difference is. So what you've seen as a common thread throughout these products that LifeVantage created is literally based on technology and delivery systems, all right? So Omega Plus is very similar in that same method. This is an omega-3 that literally we can trace back to the boat that it came from. So we know the purity, we know the quality. I want my omegas to come as quickly as they can from the boat to me so I can consume them. The fresher they are, the better that is for you and your body and for your brain. This one also is very unique because it has omega-7s in it, which help optimize your energy usage and help with the metabolism. It's very rich in the EPA-DHA ratio, which is helpful for brain. It has vitamin D in it, which everybody's deficient in. And just so you have an idea, guys, every single person I've ever tested with lab work, which are thousands at this point, have a deficiency in omega-3 fatty acids unless they're on an omega-3 fatty acid. I've yet seen one that's normal. So, and if you don't have this relates to all of the degenerative diseases we have, including our brain. So this is something we know we need to have in our body. So this, back the boat to you, you're good to go. I love that. There's what's called the vitality stack. We just touched on a system, right? A system of ways that you can address the problem in your body. We call this the vitality stack, right? We know oxidative stress is a problem. We know mitochondrial dysfunction can be a problem. We know that immune system is the problem. We know the gut is the problem. We know that the brain and fatty acid is the problem. Well, literally, this vitality stack comes in a little packet that all I have to do in the morning is hand that packet to each of my kids and me and an Axial, and we'll go, right? I love how simple it is. So I'm not opening up 10 bottles that I used to do growing up, right? Or I have for most of my married life. This makes it super simple to use this to activate your body's ability to heal and repair versus supplementing it, right? Drastic. And from a parent perspective, makes it simple so I can be successful. Because if you guys have kids, right, you know, it is crazy in the mornings, right? So if I have something that's simple, I'm going to be more effective because the effects of this are cumulative over time, right? So it's key that we can have success and be in community and be able to do it consistently. Right. This is the actual, this has really got my attention. I've been teaching for 25 plus years physician. That's what I've done along with clinical practice. And so I really wasn't looking for something else, but this little boy I was taking care of, diagnosed at 2 with autism, came in to see me. I worked with him every week for a year, getting small little tiny changes, just wondering like, what else do I have to do? I've done everything with him and he's doing 35 hours of therapy on top. Guys, 2 weeks to him starting this product called Axial that his mom put him on. Right, because she was at a pre-launch of this product with LifeVantage because she was part of this company. She started him on it 11 days in. I had saw a 50% improvement in his behavior and learning. So from a little boy that come in here and destroy my room to a little boy that sat on my table and let me work on him the whole time, to a little boy that now remembered his letters and numbers from the time before you'd never know if he'd remember one or the other and he'd flip them all over the place. You saw this little boy go from saying, "Mom, I wish I was just smart like my brother," to a little boy who now said, "Look, I'm the smartest kid in 2nd grade. I'm a genius," right? The confidence level because of how his brain works. Guys, this is a picture of my nephew's handwriting, right on the left-hand side. Okay, he started the Protandim, the Axial, that's his handwriting on the right. This little boy I've been taking care of, done chiropractic with, tried to work dietary stuff with, done neurofeedback on from the time he was little, right? Look at the difference in his handwriting, you know, within 2 weeks, once we started activating his body's, his brain's ability to retain, remember, and learn the things that was been given. That's what we have our hands on, right? So this drink called Axial is literally liquid brain food, okay? We talked about one of the studies said hypoperfusion, lack of blood flow. The products are in this, you'll look at these things: New Zealand pine bark, L-theanine, green tea extract, magnesium, quercetin, B vitamin, D, MAE, caffeine. Each of these have an effect on brain, but the synergistic effect to me is like an all-star team. Right? You're literally addressing the way in which the brain fatigues. So most people are struggling, whether it's having manifesting symptoms of ADHD or autism, or manifesting other symptoms that are brain-based symptoms because their brain is fatiguing. So when this product was developed, it was developed to address brain fatigue. There's 2 types. There's one that's caffeinated and one that's non-caffeinated. All right. So for those of you that are concerned about the caffeine, I recommend the caffeine because, as we know, most of the medications that people are prescribed for ADHD are stimulant type drugs, right? So caffeine, if you know, most people, when they self-medicate, what do they use? They use stimulants, right? So what if you had caffeine done in the right way with the right things? we get a massive difference in the success of getting the nutrients that the brain actually needs, and then the brain performs like it should. And so the brain not only gets information, it learns it, it retains it, it remembers it, and then it recalls it. That's a healthy brain, all right? When you apply Axio to it with the other things, you allow that brain to have everything it needs to actually form those pathways so it can perform like it should, right? And then from that develops the child's self-confidence. And that's what we see, okay? So what we've talked about biohacking, which is literally the way for us to tap into our body's ability to heal. Now, we want you to have choice, right? Sometimes in medicine, doesn't like you have a choice, right? You go in, you get kids evaluated, teachers, like, you don't do something with this kid, medicate him, like he can't come back to school. I know parents that have that conversation, right? Or you have a kid that won't even get out of the room because they're so depressed, right? I've seen those kids, right? So what solution do we have? Guys, we don't have to guess, right? We don't have to guess if your body has oxidative stress or mitochondrial dysfunction or gut dysbiosis. We all do to some level. Now the question is, which system do you want to tap into? Which one do you want to apply? So we have nerve 2, that's oxidative stress. We have nerve 1, that's mitochondria. We have probiotic, that's the gut and immune system, right? And then we have omega-3 fatty acids. Combine those and you can choose at whichever level you want, from 40 up to 150. And in my opinion, we should always add the Axio in, okay, which is 50, right? Because this is what we want. Like this little girl, I'll tell you the rest of her story really briefly. I watched this girl time she was 5, not be able to eat, hold much food down, always underweight, struggling like crazy. Like when you tell her a joke, she wouldn't get it. Very little smile, hardly any interaction. Her mom did everything she possibly could with her. Eventually took her to California, got this spec imaging done. We're like, no wonder she struggles. 4.5 years ago, I got introduced to these products from that little boy I was treating from her mom, right? This little girl started that product shortly thereafter. This little girl now, like she performs in plays, she was the star of Beauty and the Beast, right? So she jokes, she's got so much more affect. At the same time, she graduated high school, she went on to take a college class. Her mom is no longer worried about her. It's like, how can she take care of herself? She knows eventually she'll find a career path of some kinds where she can take care of herself. That's what we have. And every single day, we get stories of moms. What we hope happens from this video, guys, is that you can literally have a hope and hear a story, do your research, but more than anything, know that the research has been done. And I love, Steph, how you do it. You were just a mom looking for hope. And even though I kind of talked to you about the science, it was Carrie, right, that said, you just got to get this into your kid, right? And I know that's what we want. Like, we just want you guys to know there's an option out there. The effects of this are cumulative, be consistent, right, over time, you know. And if you ask, what are my other options? They aren't so good, right? So we hope this, that when we know if you'll apply this, it will affect you. Well, that's going to help you 5%, 15%, or 100%. We don't know. And just watching your son, Mike, over the last, couple of years, of off all medications but one, right? Just thriving. We know, and we get stories every day of other kids that are now thriving, families that are now thriving because it's not centered around this one person. So, Steph, thank you for letting me be a part of this. It's such a privilege, and I look forward to hearing the stories and the experience of other people that have this success. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing the science, sharing a little bit of what you've seen also in your practice, and really what opened up your eyes to this as well. We have an absolute gift on our hands, and what I want to close with is just know our hearts, just know what space we're coming from, is really just to come and walk alongside this journey with you and let you know, like Dr. Brimhall said, that there's hope. I'm so glad that I didn't allow the what if to keep me back, but to let me go forward. What if this works? Because at that point I had nothing to lose and 100% a lot to gain. So don't hang back. Step into this and all of your questions answered. The person that shared this video with you, they shared it because they care and they love you and they want to answer your questions. Products being ordered, absolutely get back to the person who gave this video with you, because we would love to get you started. Don't wait, get started, and then share the amazing testimony of what's happening in your life with us, because that is what brings us excitement on a daily basis, because we get messages on a daily basis of what's happening in people's lives, and it just that's what lights the fire and why we keep doing what we're doing. So thank you so much for your time. We're excited to hear from you, and have a great day.